There is no way that this just happened, as for all of us, probably 20 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, we were prepared for another Leafs loss and Sheldon Keefe's return to Toronto. Austin Matthews saves the day. William Nylander saves the day. And the Leafs showed some heart. They showed some effort. And most importantly, they got 2 huge points to stay ahead in the Atlantic Division. One of the most important games, obviously the most important game, I think, of the season, because not only is it 2 points, not only did the team just come back, no one thought it was going to happen, given the energy, the losses, the negativity surrounding, this team, even from the players speaking out, dealing with all the losses here, they come out. And to see that win, I don't care about those 3 losses anymore. I'm happy they got a win. Darius, I mean, we were texting. We were fully preparing for a loss. Just like that, everything turned. They didn't quit on this game. Craig Berube's mindset was instilled into each and every one of them. Amazing pass by Mitch Marner. Some good saves by Wall. And the fact that they won this game after Jacob Markstrom made almost 40 saves tonight. An absolutely incredible game. And I'll tell you what, for a team that hasn't showed heart, hasn't showed effort over the past week or so, this was exactly what they needed, and the best game I've seen in a while from this Toronto Maple Leafs team.
I think collectively as a team, this is closer to what they actually are than what we saw the last 3 games. And the last 3 games were brutal. I didn't like any of the comments, but teams go through that sometimes. And as you come out the other end, you start to realize that. I think this is closer to what I think they actually are. And I think that's a really good sign. And experience Sheldon Keefe hockey, baby. You go up with that lead, you're expecting to win that game, and it does not go your way whatsoever. And I don't know what it is about teams that are coached by him, but they cannot hold leads. They lose very early in overtime, and they do not fight for each other. They do not fight for each other. So I don't know what that was about, but the Leafs, big win. Austin Matthews, big captain moment there, I thought. Putting the team on his back there. 100%. Like, hit the first goal, he goes to the net. Love it. And obviously, second goal is highlight reel goal. Like, not too many players can do that. That was unbelievable. And then the overtime winner, Nylander. I would love to know the stats for how many, like, how do I word this? Like, how many breakaways in a season? Because Nylander leads that already, and it's January. Whatever the record is, Nylander has the most. So, crazy. That was a great game. And, yeah, go ahead.
Morgan Rielly, 7 shots tonight. And talk about a return for Jake McCabe, a +3, 5 shots on goal. Got the assist on the game-winning goal from Austin Matthews. Almost scored again when they were pressing late in the third. I'm just incredibly pleased. We have some call-ins. We'll get to them in a minute here. We have 2 people, or 1 person waiting now. There's a few other people waiting to call in as well, which of course you can do. Mo, I saw you in here. Hope you're doing well as well. Paul, Mark, everybody, Shane, Nick. I mean, quite frankly, they needed it. They desperately needed it. And I was actually watching the Devils broadcast, and they were just completely disheartened by that game and by those by the win. I've never heard I guess bias. I don't know if bias is the word, but I've never heard such sadness after a goal from Austin Matthews, and then of course William Nylander. It was a complete defeat for them, but I think that was their 4th straight overtime game, the New Jersey Devils, which is an absurd stat. Either they misspoke or that's the case, but either way, 2 points for the Leafs. They remain on top. Jake McCabe with 5 shots. The defensemen combined for 20 shots tonight, which is absolutely unheard of, and I'm just happy. I'm happy, and the team is just, I don't know. I'm not going to say the team is rolling because they aren't. They lost 3 in a row, but when you're talking about a must-needed win, this was it.
It's not that they're rolling, but I think it's kind of what I was saying before. This is closer to what we know them to be. So when they play a game like this, everyone's excited, right? Like, I'm amped right now. Like, that was a good game. That was a really good finish to the game. I'll say that. But one thing I was thinking throughout the game is, it was 1-0 for a while. And I was like, if New Jersey scores, their play style this year, the Leafs, if New Jersey scores, they might win this game. Just the way that the Leafs season has been going and the way that they've been playing. But I was like, man, they're keeping this team, the New Jersey Devils, who are, high flying. They're keeping them in check here. It's 1-0. They're sticking around in the game. This is everything that the Leafs have done all season so far. Again, it could have went south very quickly. It could have. But Nylander gets that goal. Great play by Domi. Nobody's mentioned Domi yet. That was a great play by Domi on the first goal. Nylander puts it in, and then you allow the skill to shine through. OEL made some puzzling decisions tonight. A couple of terrible penalties, and terribly timed penalties. But the skill will shine through at times, and as long as you stick around in games and you take care of your own end, things will happen for you. And I think that's what they continue to do. The last 3 games, again, January, they have like a slide in January sometimes. So it's okay as long as they continue to play this way. Because again, this is closer to what I think they actually are this year. And again, great game. And Matthews putting the team on his back. Jake McCabe, great return, like you said. He should have a letter. I think like that guy's everything for this team.
For your super chat, we were so back, Aiden. Thank you. And yeah, I mean, if you're happy with the win tonight, hit that like button. Let's try to get to 50 likes. And thank you again, Aiden, for the member, but or at least the free super chat. I don't really know how the messages work there with that, but I mean, Austin Matthews 2 goals. Well, I don't know. I'm just so happy. It was such a breath of relief that they got this win, and they needed it so badly. Now, Aiden with the 6.99. Thank you so much, Aiden. Support as always is incredible. Oh, that. Thank you so much for the donation there. I mean, talk about a must win game for the Leafs now. You have Jake McCabe back. You have Anthony Stolarz preparing to come back. John Tavares is going to be out for a while. You obviously had a bunch of people. Every member gets a free monthly chat message. Oh, okay. There you go. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Oh, so happy. Relieved. I think relieved.
Couple things.
There we go. Everybody is going to hop on that now. Didn't I know members have free super chat? Well, there it is.
Yep. A couple of things I'll mention too from this game on the assist. Max Domi's assist on Nylander's goal was his 300th of his career. And Mitch Marner gets his 700th assist in the NHL on Austin Matthews' goal in the 3rd period. He is the fastest Leaf to ever get 700 assists. So Mitch Marner atop of the leaderboards, top of the record books there for the Leafs. In that regard, I just don't like it when he says things like he said after the Vancouver Canucks game. But can't take away that he is a great player. So 700 assists, fastest to ever do it as a Leaf. I think that's very impressive.
Yeah, Nick gotta put the cap. Yeah, I know, for the donation. I definitely do. And maybe we'll hopefully get a the impact score chart tonight as well.
Looking for it, but I keep refreshing it, Nick, and doesn't seem to be coming the last couple streams here, but we'll stay on the lookout. Oh, actually, we do have it 21 seconds ago. There we go. We'll get that going.
Wall was soft again. Yeah, Wall's been terrible.
His you know what? I have to give a shout out to Jim here because he's been calling in quite a bit, and something I never really noticed for some reason with Joseph Wall was his rebound control.
Me and Jim have been on that.
Little obvious tonight in some cases.
You know why it was obvious? Because Jacob Markstrom had excellent rebound control. That's probably part of the reason that it was.
Great goalie.
Phenomenal. Every single shot that went Jacob Markstrom's way, especially in the last 5 to 10 minutes there, every single time covered it, swallowed it.
No, he's a great goal. New Jersey, man, great pickup there for New Jersey. He's a great goaltender.
Stolarz can't come back soon enough. Nothing against. I'm gonna get that ready there, but nothing against. Wall or anything, but man, oh man.
No, but there is a difference, and I think Wall's given them good minutes, but there's a huge difference, I think, between him and Stolarz we've seen so far this year. So, he'll be back soon. He'll be back soon.
What did you send me? I think you sent me something.
Impact score chart.
You also sent me something else if you look.
As well. Oh,
that's right. Okay.
Wasn't supposed to be numbered that, but yeah.
Nick Robertson. I want to hear everybody's thoughts on Nick Robertson. Type in the chat right now. Did you like Nick Robertson's game tonight? Yes or no? Let's hear it. Let's see it. Let's hear it. I'm curious. And Darius, you as well. How'd you feel?
I'm going to be honest. I guess we can get into that too. I'm just trying to get the impact thing on there. But I didn't notice him.
Me neither.
And all the regulars here, you guys know, I mean, Nick Robertson, I've been defending him all year, and I think that he has great use. I keep using that term, and I think his ceiling is quite high still. I think that he can probably put up a lot of goals in what's going on, Nakash? Skates fast sometimes.
Here we are. We got Jim with the 5 gifted members: Michael, Pam, Cheryl, Ayla, and Sup. I'm Ninja. Shout out to all of you for the super chat. You have access now to a bunch of different stuff. More stuff coming as well. Hit the like button. Let's try to get 50 likes. Jam, as always, we'll get you in the call in here in a minute. I know you're probably itching for it. Just had to get the impact scorecard here going. Also, Willie has tied a 3rd in the NHL for goals, which is absolutely absurd.
He's had a great season too, underrated. And I was also looking, John Tavares is either, this is pretty crazy, in all the meaningful stats at least, John Tavares is either 1st or 2nd on the team in every single one. I didn't realize that. He's having a monster season. And again, some of that is skewed because I feel like if Austin Matthews was healthy the entire season and playing every single game, he'd probably be, ahead of him in that regard. But great season still.
Shout out to you, Jim. Tanev looked really good tonight. Really
Yep.
good tonight. Jim is the man. Nicky Bobby was mid, which is fine for mediocre opponent. I don't know if the Devils are mediocre.
No, they're a good team.
One of the
They're
better
a good team.
teams as of late. A couple different call-ins here. We can start to get to those.
I will mention too that the Florida Panthers lost to the Detroit Red Wings tonight. So
everything went
huge. Eric.
Had to take the earbuds off for that one, Eric.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Eric. Your support has
I have a
been
wild conclusion I'll call
man.
after. All right.
Yes.
I'm very excited for that.
I
Eric,
am actually excited.
Insane. Thank you very much.
We have some crazy stats. I have to credit Nick Ash here in the or Nikosh in the chat here.
Hold on, I'm gonna have to credit Paul for the $10 donation. Eric, thank you again for the 69. We'll come back to that as well once you call in. So glad we won tonight. Need to beat the Habs on Saturday. I'll have to pay my brother and nephew, and worse, listen to them gloat. I'll have to listen to my brother gloat if the Habs win. Saturday is gonna be an electric game. Darius won't be there.
I will not be there. I will not be there. But yes, I have family. I also have family that are Habs fans. So Saturday is going to be a big one.
I better see this chat filled up on Saturday for the stream. I better see the chat filled up. I want to see everybody in there.
The other stat I was about to mention is the Leafs. So the Leafs and the Devils only play 3 times this year. This was their 3rd meeting, final of the season. The Leafs swept Keefe and the New Jersey Devils this season with 3 different goaltenders.
Yeah, I mean,
and I believe it was Stolarz, Hildeby, and Wool. So that is that's certainly something. Certainly an interesting stat there. But good news, the Panthers losing. Yeah. That's great news in the race for first. Detroit really hot. I mean, the Atlantic's getting very interesting. So the Leafs have to stay in first, I think, if they have. Just stay in first. Just get that first spot. You want to give yourself the best chance possible in the playoffs.
Man, oh man. Insane. Eric, thank you so much. Paul, your support has been incredible as well. Consistently, supporting. It's been incredible.
Game is also in Montreal on Saturday, so that should be a little interesting as well to see how that goes for the Leafs, because it hasn't been great the last couple of years. But no, no, it's not because I won't be there. It's electric because they're playing the Habs, historic rivals, and of course, the Habs are hot right now.
Yeah.
I hate to admit it, but man, they are rolling.
Yeah, get your bro in for a post-game stream.
Could be an interesting idea.
Yeah, now I assume, it depends if he's available. I can definitely ask. I'll ask the chat. Would you guys want to see a solo stream from me, or do you want to see Josh? And I assume Jesse, either way, see them in there as well. Let me know. Would you prefer me, or you want to see some Habs fans in there? My brother. I'm so disappointed Darius not going to be there. It's okay.
Yeah, I could try and call in as well. We can try and figure something out, but just to give my thoughts there for a little bit. But
Shane, appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Anytime you can tune in, I'll take it. I can ask him. I know he does his own video after the game, so I don't know exactly how if they'll be able to get in. They usually do videos, so I don't know. It's up to them. It should be 4 games versus conference teams. And it also depends if they win. Like, if they lose, I'm not trying to hear him gloat for a while.
He's going to talk about how Patrick Laine has, 12 goals on the season and 11 of them are on the power play.
Oh, man. Oh, what a great... Also, shout out to Eric again. Get your bronze. We can tease him. I think it depends if we win, right?
Love those guys over there, by the way. I do want to say on Habs Digest, Josh and Jesse are awesome. They just cheer for the wrong team. That's all it is.
Not only the wrong team.
They're great, but they're great. They're great.
They have been rolling. All right, let's get Jim in there. Anyone else wants to call in? The procedure. We had someone else call in. I think it may have been maybe Shane. I'm not entirely sure. But
Eric said he's calling in a bit, I think is what he said. So
okay. All right, let's get it going. Also, shout out to the 90 of you in here. All right, Jim. It was a surprising win, to say the least, and I am still kind of speechless. I was very mentally prepared for the loss tonight. Not coming into the game, but after with about 5 minutes left, I was like, oh well, this is gonna be interesting. They come out, Matthews saves the day, Nylander saves the day, and everything is good in Leafs land. We're back. You might be muted, Jim.
Hello? Nope.
Hello.
You're
Oh,
here.
there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're
Yep.
good.
Okay, perfect. Gentlemen, I am so pumped. Appreciate you having me on as always. But you know what? Lots of things to say here, but I just want to say, like in the previous games, there's been zero pushback from this team. Previously, even earlier in the season, before this 3-game winning streak that we're thankfully now off of, the Leafs always had that intensity, especially from the first and second lines, where they would push and they would hold their opponents in the ozone for significant times, causing turnovers, causing their defensemen to be out there way too long, and they would always capitalize on it. And to be honest, guys, we have not been seeing that definitely in the last 3 games, whether that's because of all the back-to-back games in December, or it's just fatigue, or it's just that January kind of malaise. Either way, boys, it's over. Lots of great points to get to tonight. If anyone, and I do mean anyone in Leaf Nation, was questioning whether Austin Matthews is healthy and back, and God, based on the performance this season, going to be, unfortunately for Canadians, playing in the Four Nations Cup for the U.S., he is back and he looks absolutely amazing. Someone said it in the chat, and I'm just going to kind of duplicate what they said. He literally said, they're going in. It's a very close game. We get down to the dire minutes in the third. Austin Matthews says, "Don't worry, boys. Hop on my back. It's really solid. I went to Germany. I got it fixed on. It's all good. I can carry the whole team," and that's sure as hell what he did. And then I also want to say William Nylander, I've crapped all over him for the last while. I think he was 11 games without a goal, something like that. Anyways,
He woke up.
You know what? In his mind, Nick, he finally got off that beat he was visiting in his mind for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and he's there. Boys, thoughts on that, and then I'll continue.
First of all, Matthew's new back. It's
What's
it's
up,
brand
Mo?
new and ready for everyone to hop on the bandwagon there and get them to overtime and allow them to win that game. And Nylander, I think that's a great point too, that it looked like he woke up tonight, not just because he scored, but there was a couple times tonight where there's a loose puck, or maybe he loses the puck, that I noticed at least, where he was actually hustling. Like he was moving his feet, and he was engaging physically as well. I didn't see that the last couple of games. I haven't seen that in like 2 weeks, honestly. And he picks and chooses. This is something I want to ask you too, Jim, because I'm curious, because I think I'm starting to become okay with it, but it is annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just who he is. He'll turn it on, he'll turn it off. And certain points of the season, like I always notice January, he coasts through the month, right? And I feel like he thinks it's probably because it doesn't matter and they're going to make the playoffs and all of that, right? Are you okay with that? Because I feel like I'm learning to be okay with it, because that's just who he is. But it's so frustrating at times, because when I see him play like he did tonight, if he could do that in 75 of 82 games, this guy would be, I think, one of the best players in the league.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great point, Darius. And you know what? I'm learning to accept it. I'm not enjoying it, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So I think given his like natural skill level and his ability, his edges, he's just an incredibly skilled player. So for all Leafs fans, when you're watching him, even like not even committing to like a play or even pretending to throw a check on a forecheck, like that kind of stuff gets really frustrating, because you know what he can bring when he really wants to bring it. That said, though, he does show up, and let's face it, the last few years, if we're talking playoff performances, like there's no questioning that so I don't want him to see him take the foot off the gas, but if he has to do it, if it gives him an extra push for the playoffs, and he still shows up in times like tonight, I guess, as there's worse things out there. And if you want to see something really worse, just look at the look on Sheldon Keefe's face tonight during the Austin Matthews goal and then the overtime. I honestly, that was the highlight of the night for me, which is looking at, I love Sheldon, don't get me wrong. I think, and I'm not trying to disrespect him, but it just, you could just see God, I've seen this a million times. It really sucks on this side of the fence. Look on his face. I couldn't agree more. Hey guys, just a couple more quick points here. Let's touch on Jake McCabe. Jake McCabe. So I think this guy is underrated as far, prior to his recent injury, has really been understated as far as his importance. And I think the losing streak that they were on, and just kind of the struggles we had in our own end, without him, it really kind of exemplifies just how important he is. Because without him there, that number one pairing of him and Tanev, my God, it's just so differently the complexion of of the defense core without him in the lineup. With him, he's steady. He adds a calming influence. Tanev is at his best when he's there, and for some reason, it just as a fan, I just feel more confident with when they're on the ice. I know that we're going to put our best foot forward there. And if I can just say, steady, calming for sure. I affect on with McCabe on the ice, but that hit he threw in the late in the third period. I don't remember who it was on. It might have been Commissaric. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It was coming up the right boards just over our offensive blue line, and he lit him up. And that's something that Jake McCabe brings that is virtually untouched by other players. Right? Hey, I just realized, was Benoit sitting out tonight?
Yes,
He was. Yep.
Oh, okay. So I guess we won't be seeing the old Benoit train out
not today.
tonight.
Not
Well,
today.
it's already left the station, and I'm not sure where it's going at this point, but we might have to find a place to park it for now because it's not looking good this season, that's for sure. But
Well,
to touch on, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll just comment on that. I did look at the impact score chart when it came out late for the previous game, and I did notice that not surprisingly, Benoit was right near the bottom.
Yeah, I mean,
He's had a tough season.
that's how
He's had a tough
Berube. That's
season.
how they pick who they bench. They just use the impact score chart. Wouldn't that be funny?
Spoiler for next game.
I'm pretty sure that if you look closely, if you look at the chat right now, guys, Berube probably has like a spoof account, and he's in here right now trying to get tips for his lineup now.
If you're in here, Craig, separate Matthews and Marner. Separate Matthews and Marner. That's all I got for Craig Berube.
Yeah, so Bobby McMahon, I touched on that, and then lastly, guys, I just want to say how excited I am again. When the Leafs are winning, doesn't life just feel a little better, gentlemen? It just does. And I hate to say this because I'm a 53-year-old grown man. I should actually be able to derive happiness in other parts of my life, which I tend to do. But it is pretty awesome the fact that I know I can wake up tomorrow morning, all the radio is going to be positive. I can listen to Overdrive and all my other shows, and everyone's going to be is going to be pumping the tires of a team I love. Boys, I just want to say, great channel, love the chat, and I'm just going to listen in. And thanks again for having me on, guys. You guys are absolutely the best.
Take it easy,
Awesome.
Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
We'll see you soon, probably. So we'll
You absolutely will.
We'll be in touch, and we have a big. Everything's more positive. Whether it's the radio shows, whether it's obviously everybody's vibe in here, and of course us, because Lee's got to win. But thank you for calling in, and we'll be in touch soon, and we'll talk to you through the chat.
Absolutely. Cheers, boys.
Take it easy. Jim made some good points. McCabe, masterclass game. I put up the impact score chart. Austin Matthews, the best player on the ice. Jake McCabe, number 2. It was the Jake McCabe show tonight. And do they win this game without Jake McCabe? Probably not. There's a chance they don't.
It's hard to say there's a chance they don't. He brings so much to the lineup. I've said it before, and I'm glad that Jim brought it up again. I've been calling them, a lot of guys think of the Ryan Reeves type as a glue guy in the room, right? But then there's certain guys, I believe, at least on the ice and on paper, that are glue guys in the lineup. And he's a glue guy for their defense. He's not a number 1 defenseman. He's not a guy that's going to make a crazy impact like a Shea Theodore or a Cale Makar, something like that. Although I think he is at this point, honestly. He might be in that category, or not in Cale Makar's category. I'll correct myself there. But I think that he's the glue guy that when he plays with Tanev, that's a great pairing. And then it allows the rest of the pairings to kind of, be cohesive in that way. And they have a use. So he's been great. He's that glue guy. Couple stats I want to bring up here, Nick, and these are from Nick Osh as well. Every line tonight, and this is from Money Puck, was over 50% expected goals for, which is unheard of, which is pretty good. McCabe and Tanev, best defense pairing tonight. Riley Myers, not great. 45% expected goals. The Leafs tied their shot output for the season at 41 shots tonight. And McCabe, on top of everything he did tonight, blocked 5 shots, which I think was impressive. Unbelievable night.
It was a McCabe show. And for everybody who, didn't think that McCabe's impact was that felt, which I think most people, especially in here, definitely saw that. And my chat was down for a bit there. We're back in action. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, also let's try to get to 50 likes. We have a call in waiting. I don't have the numbers memorized, so I'm gonna do our normal thing here. Um, I can ask him. I can definitely ask him, Mo. I'll ask him. I'll ask him after the stream. Thank you, Mo, for the 5. Can run a rage with Peter regarding Saturday. I'm sure he's heavily involved. I'll send him a picture of. I'll send him a picture of this super chat. Thank you again, Mo. I'm gonna get the next caller in, and we'll see who it is. It might be. Let me see if I can. Hold on. I have most of the numbers written down. Let's see if I can do it properly this time. Give me a moment.
Great point by Jim too. I think McMahon. I've been calling him a frustrating player because when he's off, it looks ugly. When he's on, it looks like he's dominant, and he should be playing higher up in the lineup. So if he continues to do the little things and everything right,
Eric,
especially next game, I think he can maybe move up in the lineup.
Okay, hold on. I have a picture taken. Maybe it's Eric.
We'll get to our
It is
3
Eric.
stars.
It is Eric. I got it. I got it right. I hope. Eric. I think.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, I got the
Yes.
number right. Got the number right. First of all, thank you for the very generous donation. Appreciate it a lot, both Darius and myself. Second of all, I got your number right, so I'm happy about that. Third of all, how happy are you following this win?
Well, I wasn't happy up until 5 minutes left in the third. Only the Leafs would have played like that the whole game. That's what we expect out of $50 million of a core 4 minus Tavares tonight. But I find they played well the first 2 lines. The third line with Patches, I didn't really notice him at all tonight. Same for the fourth line or Robinson. Like, I did not notice any of those guys tonight. For sure, the first line and the second line is what carried the team to a win tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you think about everybody. You look, I mean, just the impact score chart. Obviously, Austin Matthews is the one who put the finishing touches on the game. But I mean, Bobby McMahon had an okay game. Chris Tanev really skated well, especially compared to what he's been doing most of this year. Jake McCabe dominant, and ultimately, I was right there with you. I thought that it was going to be another loss, disappointing, game. But things change quickly in the NHL and in hockey in general. And just like that, huge shot for Matthews transitions into a nice, breakaway once again for William Nylander, and the win desperately needed. The most desperately needed win I can remember in a very long time.
Yeah, it was a Leafy win. I mean, go back to New Jersey when they were playing like garbage and they tied it up, went in overtime, and Matthews got the goal. It was almost like a deja vu. And like Jim said in the chat, it was kind of nice to see Keith's face after that goal. But at the end of the day, we got the W. It's not over yet. We still got a long season left to go. McCabe, Tanev, awesome. Best D pair I think we've had in the Matthews eras for sure. There's some tweaking that I would do personally. What about you guys?
Well, I did see something tonight so Riley's been playing with Myers, and I don't mind Myers' game lately. I think he's gotten better as he's gotten into more games. Like, the more he plays, the better he gets, I think, and he keeps it simple. I'm starting to understand what Berube likes about him. But them together, I don't know if it's working together, at least. And there is some stats to back up in advanced analytics to back up a Riley and OEL pairing. So I wonder if they take a better look at that. I just don't know what you do with Myers at that point, because you can't pair him with Timmins or anything like that. So I wonder if they take a look at fiddling with things a little bit. I think the only thing I wouldn't change, and it's so obvious, it's a no-brainer, is Tanev and McCabe. You just don't split those guys up. I think you fiddle around with the other 4 guys and see what works. But I do like Myers' game. I can't lie. Like, the last little while, again, the more he plays, the better he gets. He keeps it simple. I think he's a guy that could see playoff time. And I think he can honestly be a difference maker in the way that he keeps things simple and he plays with an edge.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I don't think he'll stick around Myers with Riley on the top pair. Berube likes to have a right-handed defenseman and a left-handed defenseman on each pairing. We get that from each pair, which is why I think Benoit was scratched tonight, just because Timmins and OEL are left and righties. So just for that matchup. Second intermission tonight, Bob McKenzie did say that the Leafs, Oilers, and Dallas, I believe, are the front runners for John Klingberg. So in my mind, is that going to be, if we end up signing him, does he get paired either with, Morgan Riley as an offensive defenseman, to, we don't know what's going to happen here, but I know the partner that he has might not go into the playoffs. Like, we know he played with Tampa in the playoffs, a couple of games, but we need some tune-ups here. Maybe one defenseman that we need to add, and for sure a centerman. And at this point, fellas, I think I would add also a winger in the bottom pair.
Yeah. On Klingberg's front, like, I don't love the idea. That being said, the risk is pretty low. It'd be a league minimum. Worst case, you waive him if things don't go well. Best case, he shows flashes of what he did with the Stars, and he is the player that everybody, like, out of players that you could get, and again, as the deadline approaches, but in general, I mean, he probably, like, given the cost, has fairly high upside when it comes to being a solid NHL defenseman. Would he be better than Phil Myers? I mean, that's the question, and I feel like Bradshaw, living in the front office, probably think that John Klingberg has higher upside and even a higher floor to a degree than Philip Myers would. And if that's the case, I think they'll pull the trigger on the move.
Yeah. So I feel like, especially in the Toronto market, it's all about kind of how you play and how much you're worth. So the last couple of games, I would say that Philippe Myers has been playing a lot better than Morgan Riley, yet he's making 7.5 and Myers is making a lot less. So they can say that, oh, he's playing like garbage, Riley, right now, but he should be playing a lot better caliber for what he's getting paid. So if we get Klingberg on league minimum, 775 or 800, whatever the case may be, and he doesn't play well, like you said, we can send him down or put him on waivers. Like, it all depends on the contract. I have a hard time seeing the Oilers claiming him. They got their cap is pretty tight right now, and McDavid's up for a extension this year, I believe. So They got to watch their dollars. And not sure if he wants to go back to Dallas. Again, like, Toronto has the best doctors in the league. A lot of players that come in and out of Toronto still say it to this day. When that report came out, and Bob McKenzie did say it tonight, I do have a feeling that he would re-sign. Like, we don't know what's going on with Hakanpää. He was supposed to be that, 6th, 7th defenseman, but we haven't seen him in, how many games. He's only played 2 games, but he's set to face off on the Four Nations. So obviously he needs to be playing some games before going into the Four Nations. So do we see him Saturday against the Habs? Do we see him, in the next game? He needs some games. So we don't see him. I see the Leafs, they said tonight, it's whether tomorrow or the day after they're making a decision on where he's going to sign. Bob McKenzie said. So it's all about, if Hakanpää is available, because he was signed to be our penalty killer and that big, strong defenseman that Berube likes. That's the kind of defenseman he likes in his lineup.
Yeah, and I think Hakanpää, he's an interesting case. If he doesn't get into a game soon, there's no way they can allow him to play in the Four Nations. Like, as the organization, you have to step in and say that's just not going to happen, because you have to be ready to play for us if you're able to, especially if there's a possibility of him getting hurt. So I don't know. I think he's still going to stick around. I think there's plans for him. We don't know exactly what's going on behind the scenes, but he's skating. He's getting on the ice there. So clearly they want to use him. And in terms of what I think the Leafs should do heading into the deadline, I think in a perfect world, if you look at it, they obviously have to add to the third line center position. And I think in a perfect world, again, like, you add another defenseman. But the Leafs defense, I think, is not actually that bad. I don't know if they could use another piece. But when you're looking at a guy like Klingberg, who's come out of nowhere here, seemingly, which I thought maybe his career was done, the Leafs have some deadline cap space. They have about $1.3 million right now. They can sign him to league minimum. They don't have to give up assets. And he's a guy who's played in the playoffs before. If he can play, then clearly he can add something to your lineup. And I don't think he would even play unless there's an injury. And if you have an injury, to have a guy like Klingberg come in who has NHL experience, I think might be a better option than putting a guy like, I don't know, Marshall Rafai in there or something like that playing on his offside. It might be a better option. They have the cap space. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But I think, they have to target a third line center and then kind of see what else they can do from there.
Yeah, I agree. And it's going to be tough coming from that type of injury. We know Patrick Kane came back from that injury, and We know he has age, but he is doing well. But it is also harder on a defenseman, when they're opening up their hips a bit more. They're doing a lot of pivots on the ice, so it's a lot harder on the defenseman. We haven't seen that in the league. I think it's the same type of surgery that Matt Murray had, kind of with his hips. But we just need to tweak something, especially the bottom six. It's every game is a different lineup in the third, fourth line. So what I wanted to get at, boys, tonight is that I know Marner and Tavares are due for either extensions or their contracts are done this year. But there's another guy who's been with the league for 10 years, and he's our president, who has the last year this year. So, question for you guys. If the Leafs lose in the first round, does he lose his job?
Nick, do you want to take it first?
I'll let you take it first. I'm very curious to see what you think about this, actually.
So if the situation here, as you outlined, Eric, is the Leafs losing in the first round, Marner doesn't return and Brandon Shanahan doesn't return if they lose in the first round, because that is far too much of the same and you didn't progress at all. So he will not come back, because you can say what you want about Brandon Shanahan. I actually think he's great on the business side, like what he's done for the organization and what they do to honor, certain players and players who've passed away, and all these new traditions that they've added in, next gen games, all that stuff on the business side, I think is great. And the Leafs brand is probably bigger than ever at this point. So everything he's done on that side is awesome. But in terms of the hockey side, he's stubborn. He hasn't, allowed any GM, I think, to change the roster at all to this point. He wants these guys to stay here. He didn't want Mitch Marner gone or traded or anything like that when they had an opportunity to do that. And I think that, there's a lot of factors, but I think that also played into Kyle Dubas's firing. But I think it's very interesting. I think guys are going to start to get nervous as the playoffs come around. I think Mitch Marner's going to realize, like, there's a lot riding here. I think Shanahan's going to realize, if this team doesn't perform, we don't get past the first round, like, I'm gone. I'm not going to be returning, because they're just going to go in a different direction. So if the scenario is they lose in the first round, yes. If they find some more success, I can see them trying to bring everyone back and continuing to go down this road.
Nick, you had anything on that?
No, we've been having this conversation for a little bit, off camera as well. I think if they eliminated first round, I think it's a pretty simple decision. Marner goes, Shanahan goes, you keep Brad Living around. I think if they lose in the second round or the third, it'll be a lot more difficult of a decision to make surrounding Shanahan specifically, and Marner even, because, we thought this core four was going to be split up last season. I don't see a world where, unless they make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, that Mitch Marner returns. You can make a case that if they make, they go deep but they don't make the cup, the round before the cup, sure, maybe Mitch Marner returns, but it becomes very interesting. And regarding Shanahan, that's feel like a bit more of a difficult question that, I feel like there's probably some politics behind that as well. Like, there's a lot of different things that go into that decision. So I think if they get eliminated in the first two rounds, Shanahan goes. Otherwise, I think he stays. That is my gut feeling. But ultimately, it's a predicament, I would say, at the very least.
Yeah. Okay. So part two of my three questions, I'll try to make it quick, boys. Our defense pairing, when all healthy, are they the best D pairing 1, 2, 3 that we've had in the Matthews era?
Oh, yes, unquestionably in the Matthews era. I thought you were going to go all time with the Leafs or the league. Yeah, I was like, oh, that'd be tough. But in this era, absolutely. This is the best defense core they've put together.
He is, Jay. Yep.
I can't even remember the last time they had a D core like this.
I agree.
And Darius, how long do you think that pairing is going to be where they're at right now? Whether that's OEL and Tanev, how many more years in their prime do you have before you start knocking them down?
The Leafs Cup window, as I see it right now, is open until 2028, I think. And again, anything can happen in between there, but I think 2028 is where it ends. And obviously Tanev is signed well beyond that. But I think there's no way OEL and Tanev finish out their contracts here, whether it's here or on Robida Island, wherever they want to take it. But yeah, I truly believe with the way that the team is set up right now, they have until 2028.
Yeah. And the reason I'm asking all these questions is that I'm asking you guys, even in the chat, to put yourself in Brandon Shanahan's shoes on the last year of his contract. If he does not make, past the first round, I do see him leaving. But if you're Brendan Shanahan, the president of the Leafs, you go all in and give Tree the okay to trade Cowan or Minton to go all out for either a second line center or a winger and go big. Because the reason why I'm asking this is if our D pair, which is a big part of a hockey game, only has about 2 to 3 years prime, well, that's how long it's probably going to take Minton or Cowan to develop like Matthew or Marner did. So do you pull that trigger and go all in? Because he has nothing to lose. He does this trade and they lose, he's fired. If he doesn't make the first round, he's fired. Do you pull that trigger, boys?
I'll start. It's almost similar to, if any Jays fans are in here, it's almost similar to the Jays situation. Their president and everything is on the last year of their contract. I'll be a free agency. The answer, are you asking, do I think they will or do I think they should? Or
if they should. Like, if I'm the president, I would pull that trigger, and I know I'll shoot myself in the foot down the line. But if they only have a certain amount of window open, whether it's 3 years, then in 3 years from now, Matthews, Marner's, if they stick with the Leafs, they're going to be, Tavares' age. And then Cowan's going to start young. So they're not really going to play together in their prime. So do you just bite the bullet and you do it now when we have a cup window? Because when's the next time we're going to have this same D cord, the core four, the coach, the manager, all together in one? I can't wait another 50 years.
Yeah, I don't think they do it. I've seen reports, like the reports out are that they're looking for a third line center, not a second or first. I also don't know off the top of my head if there's many available that would require that capital that would fit the Leafs in a spot and put them in a spot to trade either of those guys. Minton may be more likely. But I don't see them doing it for a rental. Then Evgeny Malkin comes to mind. If he comes available, sure, there's a chance he's on the older side. Yeah, I don't see the Leafs doing it, and I do think they probably should if that opportunity arises, but I'm just not sure there's that fit there that really puts them over the top that would cost those prospects anyways. I mean, there's Brock Nelson out there. He's not going to cost those guys. There's a lot of, like, Nick Bukestad. I know those guys aren't the high-level players you're referring to, but when you're talking about these players, I mean, the only ones that come to mind, Elias Pettersson, JT Miller, those type of players. I don't know if the Leafs, like, that's a whole nother bag of, because not like you're just trading your prospects away. You're then inheriting a bunch of salary till they're 39. So it's, I don't know if even the options are out there for them to have to make that tough decision.
Yeah. So on those terms, like, if we're giving up prospects, like, I would expect, like, retained salary, whether 25 or 50%, like, anything to be, it's hard to trade Morgan Riley. I know we talked about it and you guys had a stream about it, but he has a no trade clause. So it's going to be pretty hard to move him. He has a family and everything set up in Toronto, but for those types of prospects, I'm sure people are going to be willing to retain some salary. And there's always these links. Players are linked, but Chris Tanev's brother, Brandon Tanev, he's a winger. He has the most blocked shots as a forward, takes over his brother, most time as a penalty killer, like Marner. Like, if he doesn't stick around and they don't sign him, the Leafs need to think about these steps also. Like, they want someone with term, but I think they should also get a winger this year. And I think they do make a trade before the deadline because of Tavares. If he's out more than 2 to 4 weeks, like, it looked pretty bad in practice, whether it's a groin or whatnot. But if he's out for a while, I do see them make a trade before then.
Yes, Luna, I do. Continue, Victor's.
I think, yes, I would agree with that. I think that Tavares' injury has accelerated things a little bit. And I think Jim made a good point in the chat just now. Like, you got to look at what the Raptors did. Masai he looked himself in the mirror one day and he was like, we're going to sleep through this and we're not going to win a championship with this core the way it is. I got to make something crazy go down. I gotta make a drastic move. So if I was Brendan Shanahan, like you were saying, like, if I, like, plopped into his body Freaky Friday style and it was like, hey, I got to do something here with this team to win a cup this year or I'm gone, right? I'm like, there's two options. We win or I'm gone. I mean, I'm doing everything I can to make this team as good as I can. I am trading prospects because you said, like you said, the timelines don't match up. These guys are not going to be playing with Matthews and Marner in their prime. Let's say Marner could be on his way out. We don't know what's going to happen after May. If they have another performance like they did last spring, it's going to be bad. It's it's going to be a fire sale. So it's going to be very interesting to see. But yeah, if I was in his shoes, I would say, you know what, you're living, whatever you think is best. I put you in this position. Like, let's make this team as good as we possibly can. If we got to trade some young prospects to do it, let's do it, because this team hasn't been this good in 25 years. Let's just, pull the trigger. Let's try and get a championship here.
Yeah, and if they do pull the trigger and they go all out because of their cup window, man, like, I hope we have a stream video and we look back at this conversation, because I have a good gut feeling that that's what's going to happen. It's not the first time that the Leafs got rid of, prospect. We had Tuukka Rask and we got rid of him. Who else do we have? Brandon Montour. Did we not have him as well?
I'm not sure about him, but there are a ton of prospects that they've traded over the years that ended up. I mean, Carter Verhaeghe, like there's a bunch of guys that ended up, that ended up being difference makers.
So that's what I mean. At the end of the day, you got to put yourself in his shoes. He has a job on the line, and at the end of the day, I know Tree does the trades, but Shanahan has the final decision. So do they go all out? Who knows? But if I'm in his shoes, it's a lose-lose situation, because if you lose in the first round, you're out. If you trade the guy and you lose in the first round, like, you're still out. You can only be a winner out of this trade if you proceed the first round.
Yeah, they would have to. And forget a trade. In my eyes, it would be an absolute disaster to lose in the first round this year. Absolute disaster. Like, they have to go, I say 3 rounds deep. I think Leaf fans would still be upset with that when you lose. You're still losing. They have to win a Stanley Cup with this roster. The way it's been constructed, the expectations, they have to win a Stanley Cup this year. The mindset has to change. They have to go after it.
It would be nice to see the Leafs go into the third round, because they never have. The last time they won the Cup in '67, it was only 2 rounds, I believe. It was the max that they went. We've never seen a third round before. So at the end of the day, before I go, Matthews, like, those goals from Dallas, those top corners, that's the real Matthews that we've been waiting to see.
Yep.
We know he's been dealing with injuries, but he's not just there to be a goal scorer. It just seems that Berube is the type of guy that likes to keep a close game, shut down game, 1-goal game. So at the end of the day, they won, and I'm happy.
Yeah, huge win. I mean, we're over halfway through the season now. Like, the playoffs are going to come a lot faster than some fans think. At least, like, it's going to come soon, and we're going to be looking back at wins like this and thinking, okay, this was either a season-defining moment for them, or the win streak over the losing streak, over the past 3 days is going to be a definition, the picture of what was actually their play come playoff time. But we won't know until the playoffs come. But in the meantime, we can continue to hopefully see some great hockey. And tonight was that. But I mean, the next big step now is that trade deadline to see if they push the chips further onto the table or if they kind of hold up a little bit. And trade chatter is going to be highly rampant until the deadline, so over the next couple of months here. And I mean, it's gonna be interesting to talk about, especially as moves happen, as rumors start to pick up, and they've already started. And we'll got you covered with that. But Eric, thank you so much for calling in. It was a great chat, and thanks again. You had some great. I like it's a great question. I love talking trades, and it's a good point. Maybe we'll look back to this call, and you'll be a bit of a predictor of the future. And also, thank you again for your donation there.
Anytime, boys. Nick Darius, awesome channel. We're up to 45 likes, boys. Hit that like and subscribe to Leafs Digest. Go, Leafs, go.
Yes, sir. Have a great night. And hopefully we'll see you Saturday, because Darius is not going to be here. But either way, have a great evening.
Well, I'll be there. See you, boys.
Love it. Take it easy.
Take care.
Yeah, some great insights. Some great insights by Eric. Some great insights. Yeah. I love talking.
No, that was great conversation. I love talking trades because they're coming down. They're coming down. I have some more stuff from the game tonight for those of you who are hanging around on the stream right now. This is from Devils Fanatic on Twitter. Sheldon Keefe stormed right into the locker room without hesitation after the Devils loss. And yeah,
so he was that's real.
That's actually happened. So he was quite upset about he wanted to win this game, and it's pretty funny the way they lost it. I think that's genuinely hilarious. And
what's up, Paul?
And then he had He had a quote right after, and he goes, "Disappointed we don't leave with 2 points here, but I probably owe the Leafs an extra point."
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Man, I
I
love
have
him.
to say, I love Sheldon Keefe.
Now that he's
I
not our
actually
coach.
yes, I actually saw him last year when he was still coaching the Leafs, and great. I mean, he's a good human being, and I think he's a good coach. But it's funny. It is funny. It is funny.
Both Jim and Eric have high hockey acumen. They do. I mean, Eric was spitting out facts from decades ago.
He brought up a good point, actually. Brandon Tanev. Yanni Gordon and Brandon Tanev play for the same team.
Package them up.
Just saying. Could be
Need to
something
teach
there.
his teams how to hold leads. Yeah. 4 over. I mean, the Devils announcers sounded like they were getting the full Sheldon Keefe experience. That's what it sounded like to me. If you go back and you listen, it is hilarious. It was. I'm not even gonna try to try to
The
pretend.
NHL highlights on Sportsnet's YouTube channel, I think tonight will be that feed, by the way, because the game was on TSN. So if you want to go check out the overtime winner, go check out.
It's like, oh, and
Sportsnet's
Matthew
highlights.
scores.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
just
the game is
so.
over. So I was like, oh man, okay. I couldn't even tell Matthew scored because of the lack of emotion. Oh,
Yeah,
and
no,
Austin Matthews scores.
It's the same everywhere, I guess, right? With the
I feel
home
like the Leafs
broadcast,
one
like
is a bit more like
the Leafs one is more. Joe Bowen's awesome, like on the radio, and obviously when they're on Sportsnet, it's a national broadcast, so there's no bias. But the Leafs are never on local TV. Come on,
blacked out.
that's right. Everywhere apparently now these days, but
Yeah.
also from Nick Osh, Yanni Gord is injured and has no timeline for his return, so that might be taken off the trade board there. But we'll see how that plays out. Also, we'll have a video on it as well. Brock Nelson looks like he could be the front runner to come to the Leafs at this point in time. We're gonna have a video. That's just a tease, but that's interesting fit. Interesting fit if they think Brock Nelson is the guy. I think it might be Scott Lawton, but that's just my opinion.
You've been high on that train.
I have been. I think that he might be the guy. He might be the guy. Just because of like the cost too. You have to keep that in mind. I should say that Brock, like all things equal, if they were making the same salary or if the salary cap didn't exist, maybe it's Brock Nelson. He's a bigger player, but you have to keep that in mind too. And the fact that Lou Lamoriello is going to see phone call from the Toronto Maple Leafs and be like, I don't want to deal with this. So
Mayfield.
Leafs. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Leafs Jelly HD.
Leafs Jelly HD is a great channel. Awesome stuff. They post the highlights with Joe Bowen every night. So good stuff. Good
3
stuff.
stars of the night.
3 stars. It's going to be an obvious one.
I'm going to hammer these out. It is in that order.
Yeah.
Austin Matthews,
All right,
Jake
go ahead,
McCabe,
everyone.
William Nylander. I mean, maybe you could throw Tanev in there, but like to me, it's crystal clear in that order.
It's take your pick. I mean, it's Austin Matthews 1 and then take your pick, but
Got to be McCabe too, I think.
I think it's McCabe 2 and
maybe
Nylander
Willie
3.
too. I guess you could also put in there, but like Matthews was dominant one in the game. Nylander you could throw maybe in there number 2. It got to be those top 3 though. I mean, maybe if anyone else in the chat has a different sentiment on that one, got to be.
I mean, Austin
easiest
Austin
3
with the 2
stars
goals.
ever.
Yeah, Austin with the 2 goals, Willie with the 2 goals, and Willie had a great game, I think, too. And obviously Matthews had like a great game beyond the goals. And Tanev, I mean, he was a +3, right? He had 5 shots on goal. He had 5 block shots. Unbelievable. So he's definitely second star tonight.
And the Leafs
arguably first.
Leafs swept the Devils. We're 2 likes away from 50 if we can get there as well. I mean, just the masterclass performance. One of the better performances.
One of the better. What do we call it? What should we call it? The pushback, the fight. They were, Matthews dragged them back into the fight. I think that was awesome. That was good. And the first goal he scored tonight, he's going to the net. I love to see that. That was awesome. So that was a good performance there from the Leafs, I thought. Especially the sticking around. I think that was great. Now, heading into Saturday.
I agree. Mo, that's another good one too. Go
ahead. Heading into Saturday. In terms of also keep an eye on Scott Mayfield from the New York Islanders. Could be a package deal as well. And heading into Saturday, the Montreal
If we hit 50
Canadiens,
likes, I'll donate. We're 1 like away.
Please, one more.
One more like. That's all we need.
The Montreal Canadiens have the best record of any team in the league over the past month. They're 11-2-1.
Whoa, Blake Sim with the 13.99. Oh yeah, look at that, McCabe back in the lineup, and we win. We need to keep Jake McCabe. Matthews back, not injured anymore. I think he's 100% go Leafs go. Go Leafs go is absolutely right. Thank you so much. And we hit 50 likes. Thank you so much, Blake, for your donation. I'm glad you were able to tune into the stream. Very nice of you. And I agree. McCabe looks good. Doesn't look injured at all. He said he was going to have no rust. He didn't have any rust whatsoever. Matthews looks healthy again. It's the pretty high vibes right now, especially for a team that lost 3 in a row. Things like that are going to happen. And Eric comes in, kept his word. Eric, your support's incredible. $27.99. Thank you so much. Your guys' support tonight has been, especially after some rough losses.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Blake, again. I predict another double on Saturday. Saturday is going to be absolutely electric as Mo comes in now with the 5 gifted. Mo, your support is always incredible as well. Greg, Austin, Kohan, Newfie Outdoors, interesting, and Sean. Mo, thank you so much. Blake, thank you so much. Eric, thank you so much. Incredible support tonight. Thank you so much. And Mo, again, your support's always unbelievable.
Mo, thank you for tuning in. Always appreciate your support and love chatting with you a couple weeks ago. I think that was a couple weeks ago, right? It was after a game around Christmas, I think, somewhere in that area. But no, great. The support's been unbelievable on the channel. I love streaming after games. This is so much fun, like having conversations.
Eric, shout out to you as well. Just the no message ominous $27.99.
Ominous. Nyes also crashed into the net. I thought that's a great point there as well. He crashed into the net. He got up. He's all good. Doesn't seem like he's injured, which is good news because he's dealt with some injury stuff this year as well. So good to see him back. Hopefully Tavares is back soon. Tavares has been one of their best players this year.
Yeah, I agree. It's so much fun when they win, at least. Yeah, it's a lot more fun when they win, but we got to ride the wave either way. It's sports. Yes. Anything on the Jays? No. I might be live though. I might go live. I might go live tonight, which is crazy because it's almost 1 a.m. for me, but I might go live. Marner for Pedersen right now. There's no world they do that. Mo, the stream will be.
Who doesn't do that? Who doesn't do that, Nick? Is it Vancouver?
Every side.
Is it? Marner almost makes as much as him. I think it's about a $700,000 difference.
The stream will be 9:15 Eastern on Saturday.
9:45 Eastern. I would closer.
Game 7.
7. Yeah.
So around there. Eric, we can definitely.
We're gonna get we'll get something made for you, 100%.
So hopefully you can tune in, Mo. Yeah, around there. I should have dinner that night, so we'll be watching the game from the dinner table for the first period, I guess. Guys, gotta head out early morning night. See you guys Saturday. See you Saturday, Nick. Darius, enjoy your other family. Nick, if you go live, I will join. Should be there Saturday unless something comes up. But again, it's gonna be a huge game, so I should be good. And also, community post is the spot to be in case things. But Mo, hopefully you're there as well. I would love to see everybody in there. Especially with no Darius.
There's a world where I make it.
Maybe Darius calls in. We get him from his phone.
Yeah, I think we'll even just from my phone. Like I said, call in, but I could make an appearance, but from my phone. It's gonna be a little.
Hopefully you get better, Mo. That's COVID's no joke. Hopefully you get better.
Yeah.
At least you're able to
wishing you all the
tune in.
best, Mo. Yeah, absolutely. Hope you're feeling better.
What's happening Saturday? They play the Habs. Leafs.
They play the worst team in the NHL.
It's gonna be an electric one. Is that in Toronto or in Montreal?
That is in Montreal this time. Yeah. So
actually, some of my friends are going to that game. Christian Dvorak.
Gonna be a good one. Christian Dvorak from Montreal.
I'll pass on that one.
Played with Mitch Marner. Top line there in London Knights. Won a Memorial Cup together. And they have very different careers at the NHL level. No, I could never pretend to be a Habs fan, Paul. I'm sorry. It just wouldn't work. I just don't have it in my heart to even pretend.
Yeah, I mean, no world.
No. OEL, I mean, they did make a push tonight, but OEL made some tough plays tonight, like some tough penalties, man. And the timing of the penalties. Not great.
Pretty bad, actually, for being honest. It was a bad game for OEL, which happens.
Yeah.
He's been fine.
And especially like a guy like him, you know what I mean? Like he's a third pairing guy. Realistically should be a third pairing guy.
Troll the Habs if they're in here, yeah. Jim and Eric are special co-hosts. That will probably be the case, yeah. If Darius can't make it, we'll pop them in for sure. Marner for Miller, 8 years and 8 mil makes more sense. Yeah, I can see some. I can't really see anything crazy like that happening, but I can see the world where it's a possibility.
Possibility, yeah. And Miller's a player, man. Like
Yeah,
a lot of people are
100 points
making
last year, over 100 points.
over 100 points. He's a playoff performer. He's a great power play guy. Like he just gets the puck to the net. So he would look pretty good on the Leafs again if there was no salary cap.
It's a game on
But
Sportsnet. It will be Saturday.
it will be Saturday. Yes. Yep.
Generally, OEL's fine. He's been bad for the past 10 days.
This is the problem. It's so true. I was just reminded of this. This is the problem with OEL. He was in Florida, then he signed with the Leafs. You're treated differently by the refs. You're treated differently. OEL was probably just punching guys in the back of the head last year, and the refs were like, "Hey, like, come on, this is hockey. This is hockey, guys." And then he comes to Toronto, and they're like, "What are you doing, man? You can't be hitting guys. You can't be playing guys with your stick there on the boards. Come on, you know better than that to engage physically as a Toronto Maple Leaf."
What's up, North? Thank you, Mo. Yeah, their insights are great. Very good. 2 bad penalties tonight. Very bad penalties.
Yeah.
But as they say, that is the way the cookie crumbles. Yeah, definitely not the worst in the league. I wouldn't say that at all. But we'll wrap it up there. It was a phenomenal stream. Over an hour live with you all. And quite frankly, a huge win.
Yes.
And it's one that was definitely needed. It was one that we can build on heading into the next game on Saturday. So everybody who tuned in, everybody who donated, thank you all. Jim, Mo, Eric, every single person, Blake, everyone who donated.
Blake, Aiden
as well.
donated earlier.
And Paul as well. Thank you all. Your guys' support's incredible. Saturday's going to be a great one. Mo, have a great night as well. Thank you for tuning in again. Your support's been great. And we will see you all on Saturday. Darius will probably find a way to sneak in there through his phone, say hi to everybody. And let's keep the positive vibes going. The Leafs win. Positive vibes. Have a great night. Stay safe out there. And we will see you all in tomorrow's video.
Leafs Digest, your daily dose of gold. Stories of the bold where legends are told. From first pop drop to the season's fall. Tune in and watch the drama unfold.